On today's show, it's game day. We've got everything you need to know ahead of tonight's matchup between the Ottawa Senators and the Boston Bruins.
We'll discuss how the Sens can cool down the Bruins on a 4-game win streak with keys to victories, lineups, and more.
This is Brady Tkachuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
You're Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com, and you can win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's over at FanDuel. Today is Thursday, November 6th, and Pilsy, I'm not sure I remember how to do a game day preview. It's been years since a Sens game.
Yeah, it feels like it's been forever. I'm glad they're back at it because, Ross, they are getting jumped by teams in the tight Eastern Conference and in the tight Atlantic Division, like we talked about a couple episodes ago, just because other teams are playing games. Like the Bruins, this will be their 16th game. The Sens, this will be their 14th. Like a bunch of teams are just having opportunities to get points, and that's changing the standings drastically. So let's get Sens hockey back in action here.
And against a divisional opponent that is suddenly streaking after an embarrassing loss a week and a half ago in Ottawa. Tonight's game will be in Boston. The Senators went 1-1 in TD Garden last year. They got the overtime win where Brady Tkachuk scored the final tally, and then they were shut out by Joonas Korpisalo on a 2-game road trip from hell, where they got pumped at MSG and then shut out in both games, actually, the Rangers and the Bruins. We thought the sky was falling, and then the boys figured it out from there. But they need to figure it out from the drop of the puck. We don't need to open the can of worms. We'll point you in the direction of Monday's episode where we got into the slow starts being such a problem. But you can't talk about tonight's game without talking about the first 5 minutes, first 10 minutes. It took 3 for Morgan Geekie to score the opening goal in Ottawa 2 Mondays ago. So what will give you confidence from the opening face-off that, hey, maybe there is a change here. Maybe they are going to figure it out?
I don't know, because I feel like with the first goal in the first 10 minutes, there's not always one glaring, obvious issue that causes them to get scored against, not only quickly in time, but quickly in the amount of shots that it takes for the opponent to score. I guess, Ross, the big thing I'll be looking at is who Travis Green decides to put on the ice for that opening draw, because he doesn't get last change here. So it's like, okay, how is he going to set the table? And then how are the Bruins going to match? That'll be interesting to me. I know it's not a very big thing, but at the home opener, when Travis Green put out the third line and the third defense pair as his top starting lineup, that rubbed me the wrong way. That grinded my gears. So I don't want to see that tonight. Put out Tim Stützle, Drake Batherson, and Nick Cousins, and Jake Sanderson and Artem Zub. Start the game off with your best players. Easy, simple. That should help, in my opinion.
That opens up a conversation that I've been kind of squatting on for a little bit, because I know a lot of coaches are like this, but do you feel like Travis Green is a little more reactive than trying to push the pace, whether it's a lineup decision, like going into Florida and Tampa and saying, oh, we need Matt and Paolo because he's heavier? It feels like he's more reactive to matching up against what the other team wants to do and trying to stop that, rather than saying, hey, I've got Stallions on my team too. We can push them and they should have to try to match up against us.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, that's the situation you'd like to be in. Like, you want to be that top team, like the Florida Panthers. They're never looking at their opponents being like, how can we match up against them? Or their general manager isn't looking around the league being like, hey, how can I build a roster like these guys? Because they're the guys. Everyone, like, do we even hear the Sens reference? They're trying to be like the Florida Panthers. Like, lots of teams are trying to do that. And a team that's won back-to-back Stanley Cups, you're going to want to try to emulate whatever it is they're doing. But yeah, I think it would be nice if instead the Ottawa Senators focused a little, or at least seemed to focus a little bit more on their own game rather than trying to match opponents. And I especially think when you're setting your lineup, you don't need to be focusing and zooming in on your third pair defenseman who are going to play, I don't know, 14, 15 minutes a night max
Well,
as
or
your big
McDermott.
key decisions. Yeah, McDermott playing 4 shifts or 2 minutes of total ice time. But Ross, I don't know if you know, Sens are 4-1 with McDermott in the lineup.
4-1-1.
Oh, 4-1-1. My bad.
Yeah.
So I mean,
It's the new Pinto point stat.
you'd be crazy to take him out of the lineup, because when you have a guy like McDermott, Ross, it allows other players to play more, which is very important when selecting who's going to be your top 12 guys. You want to make sure you have a guy that's bad enough to allow other players to play more. That's smart.
He's an enormous human being, so it makes for an easy grocery stick on the bench. You know what side the defense are on, and you know what side the forwards are on, because he's just planted right there. I bet you he's such a beauty. I actually want to have him on the pod, because that is not an easy job to sit on a bench for 58 minutes and then be like, hey, at any point, I might have to fight the biggest guy on the other team. I'm not sure when, but at some point I might. And tonight, if you're looking at Boston, look no further than number 91 on the back end, Nikita Zadorov. He is a monster of a human being, and he's got the mean streak to him as well. Go look at the highlight from their weekend game against the Islanders, where he just bullied 18-year-old defenseman Matthew Schaefer. Now, part of you might say, it's like going into the elementary school recess, you're grade 6, and you're like, where's the grade 1s? I got to kick someone's ass. Like, you maybe dial it back, but at the same time, Matthew Schaefer is such a talent. Obviously, there's a target on his back early in his career. Oh, you want to hang in the NHL? This is what it's like, kid. So I'm more poking fun at Nikita Zadorov, but he is a guy who can go up against anybody and will try to be physical, because the Bruins, despite winning 4 in a row, they're going to have a bad taste in their mouth seeing that Senators logo on the ice, because their last loss was 7-2 with a garbage time goal. It was really 7-1. For all intents and purposes. This is going to be a bee in their bonnet game for Boston. You like that? Bee?
I do like that, bee in their bonnet. That's double entendre there. Well done, Ross.
Thank you.
Man, that was so good. I lost my train of thought.
No, that's cool. We can just keep thinking
question.
about
good
that.
Entendre.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say is, Curtis McDermott, the big topic that
4-1-1.
Yes. He wanted to fight in that Montreal game. There's a clip of him on the bench
Great
looking
clip.
over at Green. Can I do it? Can I go? It's like the dog at like if there's a squirrel outside and you've got the screen door open. Open it. Come on, open the door. I'll go get him.
For me, we keep the dog food in one of the cabinets right beside where the plates and the so if I'm going to get a plate, dog's looking, he's like, which one are you opening?
Yeah.
Can I get the food? Can I please get the food? That was an awesome clip. And again, it's a good sign though. Look, I'll take Travis Green's side. You want that guy who's not playing much to be very engaged in the game. He saw something was happening, and he's ready for those wires to cross. The Bruins, historically, a very tough team, but they've actually added a lot of like youthful skill guys, especially up front.
But Ross, I would like to make a correction to your previous sentence. Historically,
not to be in the bonnet.
No. We're keeping that one. Clip that. LOSP graphics and stats and social media team. Clip that one.
It's not going to be as good as the last one we did. Lyndon Sluage, you're only as good as your last performance. If that doesn't give you goosebumps, I don't know what does. He has still got his fastball.
And he's had 3,500 performances. But, okay. No, go ahead.
You want to keep talking Lyndon Sluage real quick?
Yeah, I've got some thought ready, so I won't lose it. Keep going.
Okay. I just think that it's worth noting, because I got a text from my mom yesterday, diehard Sens Central citizen.
Shout out, Patty.
Absolute beauty. Shout out, Patty. And then we looked on YouTube and we got more comments like this too. We didn't realize it, but did anybody, and let us know in the comments if it was more than just a couple people, think that Lyndon Sluage sounded identical to Dean Brown?
Yeah, I'll have to look back at it because that didn't hit me at all. But maybe now that it's planted inside the old noggin, maybe I'll make that connection.
Two of the greatest voices in the city of Ottawa.
Incredible.
Doing completely different things. But tickety boo, we need to clip Lyndon Sluage saying tickety boo. That's great. We got to add that to the vocabulary.
I want to see those two do a job swap. Lyndon Sluage on the radio and Dean Brown singing the anthem.
Well, that's just one step closer to you singing the anthem, which is what we know you're all working towards.
Yeah, I'm working towards it.
All right.
But my correction to your sentence 4 minutes ago was you said historically the Boston Bruins are a tough team.
Yeah.
I was curious when you said that. Are they only a tough team in the past? Are they still a tough team? The Boston Bruins, I mean, depends how you want to define toughness, but they lead the NHL in hits with 360.
Wow.
So that the being like, oh, the big bad Bruins, that's a thing of the past. Well, they still like to make sure that that's still a part of their game, as they have 360 and first, the Ottawa Senators in ninth with 305, just to put it into context. But I mean, also they've played some more games, so you do hits per 60 and they're fifth, where the Senators are sixth. So this is going to be a tough game here. And I mean, the Ottawa Senators without Brady Tkachuk, arguably, if not definitely, their toughest player.
Yeah, and they're led by Nikita Zadorov, who is fourth in the National Hockey League in hits with 56. After that, it's Tanner Jeannot, no surprise there. And then get this, David Pastrnak with 28 hits has one more than Mark Kastelik. Very interesting.
Damn.
Very interesting. Pastrnak is a problem. Always has been, always will be. And we'll talk more about the Bruins in the third segment. But up next, what do the Sens lines look like? Our locked on players, some key stats and information heading into tonight's game. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. If you missed the start of the game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It's going to keep every game a little more exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. And we're hoping the Ottawa Senators won't be making a late push. Let's get that first goal off the top. And if you want to bet on the Sens, they are minus 140 favorites up against the Boston Bruins. The over-under is set at 6.5. I'm trying to find a goal in the first 10 minutes. I do not see it. We will get that for you on Sens Central, but that would be something I look at. Ross has been following that stat all year long, and you can too. Head to FanDuel.com, and if you're a new customer, you get $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel.com, play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Today's episode is brought to you by our great friends over at Farm to Fork. If you're a fan of premium, locally farmed meats that are delivered straight to your door, I've got great news. Farm to Fork makes it easy to get high-quality steaks, air-chilled chicken, wild-caught seafood, and more, all with no antibiotics, hormones, or GMOs. Plus, everything comes flash frozen and individually packaged for your convenience. Not only do they deliver to all of Ontario, but also to Western Quebec. So make sure that you get your orders in at farm2forkdelivery.ca. That is the number 2. They also have a storefront, Farm to Fork. You can go see them in person. It's a great little addition to the Farm to Fork family. It's on Carling Avenue, 1570A, and you never know who you're going to run into. Brady Tkachuk was just in there a couple weeks ago picking up his Farm to Fork, and if it's good enough for Brady Tkachuk, it's good enough for any Sens fan out there. So go say what up to Derek. Great local farm meats and a local business, farm2forkdelivery.ca, and use our code LOCKEDON40 on their website for $40 off your first order. That's Farm to Fork, locally sourced meats delivered right to your door. And oh yeah, they're delicious too. All right, Billsy, it's game day for the Ottawa Senators in Boston to take on the Bruins. Puck drop tonight goes at 7 o'clock. The game is on TSN 5, and we will have the postcast for you available right after the game live on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you know when we go live about 20 minutes following the final horn.
Can I update on the FanDuel ad? I found the odds for first goal. So first period goal in first 10 minutes Yes, at a -164. So FanDuel is on to the fact that this happens fairly often in Sens games. But if you want to get even a little tighter, a little better odds, first period goal in first 5 minutes plus 158. So
That feels like
uh,
158. Like I would almost go no and just hope and pray.
no is -205
For first 5 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I could see that actually now that you mention it.
Yeah.
But one stat that is reigning supreme, and we have not fact checked this. Like I think it was TSN went back a couple of years ago, and how many goals the Sens allowed on the first 2 shots of the game? It was ridiculous. And I do not want to have to go and do that exercise, but if they leave me no choice, well, then I'll have no choice. But our friend Riddler Memes posts on Twitter, Pilsy, the Senators this season, when they have a save percentage above 785, 785 is what we're moving the filter to on this one.
Okay.
They're 6-1-2.
I mean, that's insane. Like, that's what I mean. If this team can get not average goaltending, but just a bit less than average goaltending, like not what was our garbage ranking? Burning. Garbage. Yeah, burnable garbage goaltending. If they can get close to recycle or compost, that's or just garbage, I guess. Recycle and or where did compost fall on our garbage scale?
I think we said it still smells a little bit, but you're doing something good for the environment, so it's better.
Okay, so compost. If they can get to compost, they don't even need to get to compost. Anyways, you wanted to know about team to record first shot on goal? Well,
yes, please.
Our friends over at FanDuel, they got everything at FanDuel. Ottawa Senators -130. The Bruins, it's basically even at -102. To score on their first shot on goal is almost even money for the Ottawa Senators opponent. That is insane.
That is outrageous, Pilsy. The Sens need to get this trend snipped right in the butt.
Oh, wait, sorry. That's to record for a shot on goal. My bad. I did not read that perfectly properly. Okay. I don't want to mislead anyone. But still, that's still good. That's nice odds. I might put a couple shekels on that for the Bruins.
We're leading people to the promised land, though, because my Please Help the Sens parlay hit 2 games ago at plus 1,100 odds.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday, you nailed Nazem Kadri scoring in his 1,000th game. And that was a Please Help the Sens game, too, for Calgary beating Columbus.
Yeah, now I did say Nazem Kadri point, so I chickened out a little bit there. But, I mean, the bet still hits.
It's what you do, though. You are a chicken guy through and through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but now that hits, you're feeling good.
Yeah.
Let's see. You know what I'm trying to find right now? Because Travis Green has put us on the scent that a player's record when they're in the lineup is a difference maker. Pilsy, what is the Sens record when Jordan Spence finds himself in the lineup?
Well, I know they lost the Islanders game.
Yeah, they did.
They lost Montreal, so right now we're at 1-1. So I got 3 other games. I'll say 3-1-1.
They are 2-3-0 in the 5 games that Jordan Spence has played, but both wins came in the shootout. So just something to note when it comes to whether or not Jordan Spence.
Oh, there has to be a 1. They lost in overtime against Montreal.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's their only win. He didn't play against Montreal.
Oh, I thought he did.
No, he didn't. He lost to Nashville, Buffalo, and the Islanders and got shootout wins against Seattle and Calgary. So 2-3-0. But he does look like he's finding his way into the lineup tonight for the Ottawa Senators. Here's how Travis Green is likely to line them up. Tim Stützle at center between Nick Cousins and Drake Batherson. Dylan Cousins centering Ridley Gregg and David Perron. Shane Pinto between Michael Amadio and Claude Giroux. And then Lars Eller with sometimes Curtis McDermott and Fabian Zetterlund on the other wing. On defense, Jake Sanderson with Artem Zub, Thomas Chabot with Nick Jensen, Tyler Klevin with Jordan Spence, and still unconfirmed, but we're going to assume that Linus Ullmark will get the start in goal in his old stomping grounds. The extras are Ole Lycksell and Nicholas Matinpalo. Brady Tkachuk still injured, which sucks for a million reasons, but not the least of which is that it feels like he's got some good history in Boston, scoring the overtime winner for Ottawa last season. Pilsy, your locked on player to watch tonight.
My locked on player to watch is going to be Ridley Gregg. We talk about the toughness that the Boston Bruins have. I want to see Ridley Gregg step up a little and show a bit of that mean side that we know that he has. And he has been cold as far as goal scoring goes, Ross. His only goal of the season came in the home opener up against the Nashville Predators. It's been zeros in the goal category since, and he has not had a point since the last game up against the Boston Bruins where he had 1 assist. So let's snap that streak, get back to getting points for Ridley Gregg, play a little mean, try to get under Boston's skin, try to get some undisciplined penalties. Number 71, my locked on player.
Yeah, let's see Ridley Gregg in that line, the GCP line, where the vibes are free. Get some good down low shifts, because again, that's a big physical Bruins back end. Like some big bodies back there. They got Hampus Lindholm back. We'll get to that. He wasn't in the lineup the last time these two teams played. So it's going to be important for Ottawa to have some offensive zone possession. And it leads into my key to victory, but I'll wait and go with my locked on player to watch. And that is going to be Shane Pinto. And Shane Pinto, the goal scoring was an awesome bonus, but I think everybody knew he wasn't going to score 80 plus goals on the season. So it's slowed down, no goals in his last 4 games, but he is contributing offensively, does have an assist in each of 3 of the last 4 games. So I'm looking for him on the road, where it's going to be intriguing, first off, what matchups Marco Sturm wants the Bruins to get, because they're not built down the middle of the ice right now. They got a lot of youth in there, especially with Elias Lindholm out. So I'm looking at the Sens center depth as being a big key to victory for the Ottawa Senators tonight, whether it's Stützle, Cousins, Pinto, or Eller. I think that someone in there has to break the game open, and I'm looking at Shane Pinto as a guy who, with one shot, can make the game a different story. So I'm not going to call it a Levy lock, Pilsy, but I do like Shane Pinto to score a goal tonight, and I think that it's going to be a big goal maybe in the 3rd period. So I'm looking for Pinto as my locked-on player.
Even strength, shorthanded, power play, what are we thinking?
Thank you for saying that. It's going to be an even strength goal,
okay.
And my key to victory, and it worked when the Sens played against the Bruins last game, be disciplined, because the penalty kill stinks, and the Boston Bruins have David Pastrnak, who is as automatic as it comes on the power play. Last time, Ottawa only took 1 penalty, and if you remember, it was on Dylan Cousins, and he did not think it should have been a penalty. He was livid after. It was a whole hooking call on Zadorov, where Zadorov kind of got his arm. Yeah, as you would know. Hey, they called him on that, but that was the only penalty Ottawa took all game. Yep. So be disciplined, start strong, get decent, average, recyclable, compostable goaltending, and you'll be good to go tonight against Boston.
Yep. And Ross, speaking of the toughness of the Boston Bruins, I think it's fair to say that blocking shots is a parameter of toughness.
Yep.
Show of toughness.
Grit.
Yeah, that's a gritty thing to do. The Boston Bruins are also the number 1 team in block shots total at 259. So they're hitting, they're blocking. Like,
sounds like they don't have possession a lot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe you could look into the fancy analytics about possessions for the Bruins. It probably wouldn't favor them that much, but they are at least making sure that they're playing that physical, tough type of game. So the Ottawa Senators are going to have to find a way to match that.
And what will the Boston Bruins bring into tonight's matchup? Their preview on the other side, plus a Ray Emery story that was brought to light because of a wild, borderline hysterical play that happened on Alex Ovechkin's 900th NHL goal last night. That was, I'm praying, thankfully not scored against the Ottawa Senators. But tonight's game day preview continues next. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Rougiette. Let's be real, making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stressed, I'm tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support, and that's where Rougiette comes in. Rougiette.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rougiette makes it easy to get started. You just connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online. None of those awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. It's all about connection, confidence, and getting back to the moments that matter. So visit Rougiette.com/LockedOnNHL to get 15% off your first order. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNHL. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNHL so they know that the Locked On Senators podcast sent you. Rougiette, stop making excuses and start making moves.
All right, Billsy, all roads lead to 7 p.m. from the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts, where the Ottawa Senators will play for the first time in 4 days and also, or 4 full days off. So really the first time in 6 days. It feels like 6 weeks, but the Ottawa Senators are back and starting a stretch where they are basically playing every other day, plus a back-to-back on the weekend. The Senators' upcoming schedule features a matinee on Saturday in Philadelphia, and then they're back home to take on the Utah Mammoth at 7 o'clock at the Canadian Tire Center. There are still tickets available for the Glebe Central Pub Shuttle, $18 round trip for the game on Sunday. But Pilsy, it is the Father's Trip, which started last year with a loss in Buffalo. Then they went to Detroit and had one of the most entertaining first periods of the year. You might remember that Tim Stützle goal where Brady Tkachuk was, let's call it wrestling with Lucas Raymond at center ice. And it was a part of a 3 or even maybe a 4-goal first period for Ottawa, and they held on to win that game. The Senators, I believe, went undefeated 2 years ago on the dad's trip. So it's early in the season. I kind of like it as a bonding play where you get the dads in the mix, and maybe the games, look, all games are important, but the players are so dialed in down the stretch when every game, every play could be the difference. I think stress around the team is a little bit higher later in the season. So I think from that standpoint, it's nice to get the dads out early on where it's a little bit more relaxed. I hope I'm not saying this in a way where it seems like it matters less, but you know what I'm talking about. Early in the year, just nice to have. And I think this is a nice trip for them. It's not the sunny destination, but 2 good hockey cities. And it should be a real treat for the players to get to play in front of their old men.
Certainly an improvement on visiting Buffalo and Detroit as cities to visit. So let's hat tip to that. I love Boston. Not so sure about Boston in November.
I've never been to Boston.
Yeah, you gotta go. It's awesome. Go in the summer. Beautiful spot. Never been to Philly, so
nope,
I won't comment. Although Philly cheesesteaks, love it. My notes, Ross. I would have waited 2 weeks and brought the dads to Anaheim and San Jose.
The thing is, though, what do? You bring them for the whole 6-game trip?
Nope.
You just send them off. I feel like all the trips, they always, for every team, they start at home. Like they meet up at a practice and they get to see them travel from their home.
Do that.
But then you also get back home with the dads too, because they're all in the same charter, right? You're not going to send them and be like, hey, like Timmy's dad came all the way from Germany. You're not going to leave him in LA and be like, hey, you're on your own. Have fun with that 14 hours in the air. I don't care. First class still ain't the charter that the Sens get with the steaks and sushi.
Okay, that's a fair point. You could still do the home thing because they start the road trip in Anaheim. So you could still meet at home, do the practice. Everybody gets on in Ottawa and then goes to Anaheim. But you do Anaheim, San Jose, and then the dads that are like, all right, that was a sweet trip, etc. We're going home. And then the dads that are like, no, we're extending this. Let's keep either following the team to LA and Vegas, or we just go to Vegas ourselves, or do whatever you want to do. So that would be, because I think that you should.
A couple years ago,
those dads to a warm, nice spot.
A couple of years ago, it was Dallas, Nashville, which was a good trip.
That's sick. Yeah.
Yeah. They could have waited until Tampa Bay in late March, where we'll be boots on the ground for Pilsy's bachelor party. Can't wait for that. But the Sens need to win some games here, put themselves in a good spot so that those games are on the road to the postseason. The Boston Bruins, maybe the streakiest team so far in the NHL. They started out with 3 straight wins. Then they went the complete opposite direction for a very long time. The loss to Ottawa ended an 8-game stretch where the Bruins were 1-7-0. But since then, they've won 4 straight games and all of a sudden look like a team that is organized and playing to the identity that their new head coach, Marco Sturm, is trying to implement. And they're now tasked with continuing that without their top centerman, Elias Lindholm, who will be out of the lineup. He's week to week tonight, which means Marat Kusnedinov, who was acquired in a trade last deadline from the Minnesota Wild in the Justin Brazeau trade, he'll be their top line center between Morgan Geekie and David Pastrnak. They follow that up with Pavel Zacha between Casey Middlestat and Victor Arvidsson. Then it's Fraser Minten, also acquired last deadline from the Toronto Maple Leafs for Brandon Carlo. He's centering free agent acquisition Tanner Jeannot and former Senator Mark Kastelik. And the fourth line is Sean Corrali with John Beecher and Mikey Asimont. On the back end, Nikita Zadorov with Charlie McAvoy, Hampus Lindholm with Andrew Peeke, and former Belleville Senator Jonathan Aspero is with Henry Jokiharju. That Aspero addition into the lineup is really intriguing because Mason Lohrei is a healthy scratch once again. Marco Sturm said he wanted to get him a little bit of a breather, but he hasn't played on their 4-game win streak. It's the old, hey, winning lineup, we're not changing it. He's waiting his turn to get back in. 2 games ago, he had 3 assists in the 1 game. He is a player that they think is a part of the future top 4 of the blue line, but he's not getting an opportunity tonight, and we're still waiting on who's going to start in goal, whether it's Swayman or Forpasalo. Jonas, I should put a little respect on his name since he shut out the Sens in Boston last year, and he's actually playing some pretty decent hockey.
Been hot his last 2 games.
Yeah, and for him, that's a pretty long streak, so hopefully that comes crashing down. We talk about the middle of the ice, Pilsy, and Pavel Zacha, he's a veteran. He's a solid player. He was your lookout player last time, and you noted that he is an offensive producing player and a big body. But other than that, like, they're relying down the middle with Kusnedinov and with Fraser Minten, a lot of youth. Kusnedinov, I believe, is about 22, 23 years old, and Fraser Minten's 21, 22. Like, that's going to be a matchup where Ottawa has to win. And I'm not just talking about the faceoffs, which I expect a 65 or better split, with Ottawa being the best faceoff team in the National Hockey League. Where are the Bruins?
There, Ross, 4th at 54.3. The Sens are first with 59.6. But
what's Lindholm? Because him being out of lineup's huge.
Yeah, here, I will get that.
He's definitely their top center in terms of draws.
Lindholm, 57.5.
Well, there you go. So what's Kusnedinov and Minten? Now, Minton's probably not going to take a whole lot of draws because he's got Mark Kastelik on his side, who is historically a pretty good face-off guy himself. But that's a battle. If you're looking at like areas where Ottawa can control this game, is just really the possession battle based on the amount of face-offs that you can control.
Ross, Kusnedinov is 50%.
Okay.
Minten, 51.6.
Okay.
And then who's Zacha's the other guy we're looking at here? 56.8. So,
okay.
And then let's see Corrali just for completion's sake.
Just for fun.
47.1. So dominate. Lars Eller.
Yeah.
Corrali in the dot. Let's go.
Well, not only that, like those are all good numbers, but Pilsy, look at the Ottawa Senators have the league leader in Claude Giroux. Then Ridley Gregg is 6th in the league. Tim Stützle is 7th in the league. And Shane Pinto is 9th in the league. Lars Eller's 14th in the league in faceoffs. Senators have 5 players in the top 15 in faceoff percentages with minimum 50 faceoffs taken throughout the regular season. Unreal. But when it comes to the Boston Bruins, we talk about discipline. I'm just personally like, there's a decent amount of players that I'm legitimately scared of when they play the Ottawa Senators, but David Pastrnak is at the top of the list. I'm going to have a different lookout player because we featured Pasternak last time. His numbers against Ottawa are incredible. His numbers in the National Hockey League are incredible. This guy is coming off 3 consecutive 100-point seasons, and he started this year with 18 points in 15 games. But my lookout player for tonight is going to be Charlie McAvoy, because I think that for Ottawa to win this game, not only are they going to have to control possession, but they're going to have to make sure that the breakouts are awful for the Bruins. I think the neutral zone and getting turnovers there is going to be really important. And McAvoy is really, like, I respect Hampus Lindholm, but he's more of a two-way defensive guy. Like, he's their only real, like, he can be a one-man breakout, McAvoy, and make plays. A lot of their defensemen are more just like steady, big, shutdown defensemen. I'm looking at Zadorov, Peak, Yoki Haru, and Aspero, whereas McAvoy, if you can keep him hemmed into his own zone and not give him clean breakouts, you're really going to give yourself a good chance to win. So if I'm Charlie McAvoy, I know that this is going to be a heavy forechecking team on me, and I'm going to be ready for quick outlet passes. So I'm going to be keeping an eye. I think as McAvoy goes, this whole Bruins team could go tonight.
Yep, and that's fair. He has 11 assists in 13 games, 0 goals on the year. That scares me. But ironically, Ross, you mentioned my lookout player, and he also has 0 goals on the year. Hampus Lindholm, number 27, is my lookout player. Excuse me. Now, I'm a big believer in the baby bump in sports. Hampus Lindholm had a baby on November 2nd. At least that's when the Bruins posted about it. He has played 1 game since, up against the Islanders, got an assist, but I'm worried that no goals on the year. That's always scary. And Ross, this reminds me of an all-time LOSP clip, sewer job by our social media manager. I start the clip off by saying, I need to know when every athlete is having a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to get into the baby bump statistics, but you cut me off with breaking news that Alex DeBrincat was reportedly in talks to extend his contract with the Ottawa Senators, which was important, worthy news of being interrupted. But when our social media team clipped it, it started off with me saying, I need to know when every athlete is having a baby. And that is a weird thing to start a conversation with. So that always reminds me of that. But look out for the baby bump, Hampus Lindholm, and 0 goals on the season. Every Sens fan knows what that does up against the Ottawa Senators.
I mean, he only had 3 goals last year, 3 goals the year before last year in a very shortened season, injury-riddled season. But, like, yes, Hampus Lindholm might be one of the more underrated defensemen of the last decade. Is that fair to say? And it was weird to say underrated. I mean, he was a 6th overall pick in 2012 to Anaheim, but you look at like the consistency that he showed over his time, especially with Anaheim, came in hot. And then his first year in Boston, this guy finished 4th in Norris voting.
Yeah, he had 53 points, was a plus 49. Like, he's the injury in 2024-25 last season really hampered Hampus. But they're still a good player here, and he's on their second power play. He's on their second shorthanded. Like, he is a big part of this team, and they signed him to a big contract very early. I think even once they traded for him, like almost immediately, they signed him to that big deal. So he's a big part of their team, and he's back now. So I'll be looking out for him.
The Bruins are 12th in power play percentage and 12th in penalty kill percentage in the National Hockey League so far this season. As we mentioned, they are feeling good about themselves coming off of 4 straight wins. 2 of them took them longer than regulation to get. Their most recent game was a 4-3 shootout win over the Islanders, where they scored with under 5 minutes remaining in the game. It was Kuznetsov's second of the season that gave them the tie. And then Kuznetsov was the only scorer in the shootout. We liked him in the draft profiles we did when it was his year. Minnesota gets him, and it looked like it was going in the right direction. All of a sudden, he shipped up to Boston, and he's starting to find a home here. And he is a dangerous player. I want to say he scored against the Senators last season in one of their head-to-head matchups against Boston. But we'll see if he did 1 goal in 3 games last year against Ottawa. And we'll see how this youth movement fits in, because they've got a little bit of the old, little bit of the new, and they're a dangerous team that's feeling good about themselves. It's funny to even say this, but like, I want Jeremy Swayman. I feel like Swayman has struggled in his career against the Ottawa Senators, and famous last words, but I'm interested and curious to see which way Marco Sturm will go in goal, if he rides the hot hand in Korpisalo, or if he goes back to his starter that just won the game against the Islanders on Saturday and says, hey, let's try to get him a little bit of confidence here moving forward. Pilsy, go ahead.
Ross, I don't know what way Sturm is going to go with that decision, but the Ottawa Senators tweeted out their projected lineup for tonight, and I can tell you what way Travis Green is going with his sixth defenseman. It is not Jordan Spence.
No way.
Nicholas Matimpalo is projected to be in this game, and it appears from their graphic that Linus Ullmark is projected to start this game.
This is so infuriating. And it's like he's doing it as a joke to be like, hey, in practice, he'll play with Clevin, and then in the games, we're going to go back because it's a reactionary move. The Bruins, oh man, they're so tough.
How are we going to deal with Jonathan Aspero?
I don't want Tanner Jeannot to run over Jordan Spence like he didn't run over Zub last year when he was playing with LA. One of the biggest hits of the season, and knocked Zub out for quite a while with that concussion. That was in that wild 8-7 game on Thanksgiving. The Zach McEwen game, 2 goals for him, including that slap shot from the blue line, was an absolute rip in that one. Okay, final thoughts on today's show, Pilsy.
Final thoughts for me is, as a hashtag goalie-friendly show, Ross.
Hilarious.
Keep being weird goalies. We love weird goalies. We love emotional goalies, passionate goalies. Nothing would fire me up, Ross, more than when Robin Leonard would get absolutely berserk mode and just get so angry when he was with the Sens. It was scary when you saw that face. Yeah, you look more like Chris Tanev's school picture.
Brandon
Tanev's school picture there. But
no, but the Leonard eyes, that was many people's profile picture for a long time.
Yeah, and his face like fully red. You can see like the veins popping. He's ready to explode.
Hate to be one of Robin Leonard's sticks when he's losing.
Seriously.
That's getting snapped.
But last night, Alex Ovechkin did not score his 900th goal up against the Ottawa Senators. Congrats. Raise the banner, Sens. Raise the banner.
It was a sick goal, too.
It was a nice one. Yeah. In a beatdown of the St. Louis Blues, who, if you'll remember, I put the fraud stamp on for months.
Yeah,
it's showing, so that credits me.
The Capitals as well.
I mean, when a fraud plays a fraud, someone's got to win.
Yeah, true.
Alex Ovechkin scores a goal. Jordan Binnington, not happy with it. No goalie's happy when they get scored on. He says, you know what? This is probably a puck Ovechkin, the Hockey Hall of Fame, or sellers on eBay would be interested in having. Nuh-uh. My puck. Goes, tries to sneaky, picks it up, and then opens up his hockey pants as if there's like a pocket there. But I guess where else are you going to put it? And shoves it in his hockey pants and then skates around. The ref's looking around like, hey, where's that ceremonial puck? Binner? What happened to that puck? And I love, it looks like on the video that Binnington tries to be like, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, man, I know you have it. And then just reluctantly, go see the video on Twitter. You got to watch it. Pulls it out of his pocket. And like a dog, when they finally give you whatever they're not supposed to have in their mouth, just like, fine, take it.
Big dog reference show today.
Big time. And chickens. Yeah. All-time video. And I love it. Like, I want to see goalies be petty like that. Like, you shouldn't be stoked that you're now a part of this highlight that's going to play for decades and you're a part of history after an embarrassing loss as well. Like, I'm trying to hide that puck as well. So it's a weird move by Binnington, but I actually love it. And I know you have a story, Ross, but what was the puck gate story for the Sens?
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
Not the Ray Emery one, because I'll let you dive into that. It was
during the COVID season. Rasmus Anderson took Philip Gustafson's first win.
Okay. And he almost got off the ice with it. Brady chased him and then got it back, though.
Yeah, and that was when Matthew Tkachuk was with Calgary, and there was a meeting of the minds after the game there.
Yes.
So funny. And 2 country mates, too. Anderson and Gustafson, teammates with Sweden now.
And Brady is a big get-the-puck guy. Any kind of big goal or monumental moment or milestone, Brady's always the first on it and getting that puck. So he knew that there was a puck there that he needed to get. But you have a throwback story about a puck gate.
Yeah, thanks to Elliot Friedman and 32 Thoughts. And we saw Chris Stevenson tweet this out as well, a longtime journalist in Ottawa, who is the one who asked this question. But during the 2006 playoffs, Ray Emery earned his first win. It was an awesome game too. And Ottawa gets the win. Ray Emery's excited, his first playoff win with the Sens. And all of a sudden the puck's gone. Tim Taylor of the Tampa Bay Lightning pocketed the puck. And then after was asked about it. And he said, I threw it in the garbage. Well, after the series, he actually brought the puck to the handshake line and gave it to Ray Emery and said, I hope you can understand the gamesmanship of a playoff series. And Ray Emery laughed it off. I mean, Tim Taylor at the time was a very much veteran in the National Hockey League. He was 36 years old during this time. So he'd been around the block, and I just wanted to pull a quick one on this young Sens goalie after Ottawa won that game 4-1 by scoring 4 goals in the third period. Is that good? It didn't work. The Senators won that series in 5 games. And in those 5 games, they outscored the Lightning by 10. 23-13. So just a nice, anytime we can get a Ray Emery story on Locked On Senators, we will. So shout out to Elliot Friedman for pulling that out of his memory bank, because man, those were some great years. And obviously we all have fond memories of Ray Emery playing goal for the Ottawa Senators. Pillsy, I'm fired up for an Ottawa Senators game tonight. I blocked my calendar off, of course, as the Senators are in Boston. Divisional game, huge points on the line, despite it being early on in the season. You want to make sure the Bruins aren't feeling too good about themselves, because that's a team you have to finish ahead of in the standings this season. So we'll see you in the postcast tonight. Thanks so much for liking, watching, listening, and engaging with the show. Please subscribe everywhere you get your podcast. Leave a 5-star review. It all goes a long way to helping us grow. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.